Welcome everyone to my 2024 Canadian Grand Prix review. And what an awesome Grand Prix it was. We had some mixed weather, hence the rain. I'm Ashley. It's nice to see you all again. Don't forget to like, comment, and check out my TikTok where I post a lot of TikToks about Formula One. First, before qualifying even started, we got Yuki Tsunoda extending his contract with VCARB. He's going to be there until the end of 2025. We also had a surprise with Perez getting his contract extended, and then he was out in Q3. And Logan Sargent has out-qualified Sergio Perez for the second time this year. I have no words. Ollie's face when both Ferraris did not make it out of Q2 is hilarious. For some reason, Ferrari strategists thought it was okay to put them on a used soft instead of a new one, so they didn't improve their times, and they were both out. Eventually, George did get pole. He got the same time as Max, but since George got it first, he got his second ever pole position in Formula One. Now let's talk about my predictions. Podium predictions. I got Max right. I knew he was going to win. I also knew Lando was going to be up there, but I put Charles up there and he DNF'd. I'd give myself a 1.5 out of 3. I guess 2 correct people out of 3, so it's pretty good. And Ferrari got 0 points. Ferrari, what are we doing? 2 DNFs. Was not bueno. And a congratulations to Lance Stroll. He got points at his home race. So a round of applause for Lance Stroll. And on to our top 10. George got Mercedes' first podium of the year in a race, not a sprint race, but in a race. And both Alpines got in the points. How surprising is that? They're doing something much better than they were before, and I'm happy to see them both there. We're going to go in order of pretty much the results. So since Max got first, we're going with Red Bull first. Max P1. Perez decided he wanted to hit his rear wing on the wall. And then his dumb strategist decided, oh, you can continue the lap. He crashed in turn 6 and brought that car all the way to the pit lane. And then he has a 3-place grid penalty for the Spanish Grand Prix. And a €25,000 fine for the team. Red Bull, what are we thinking? They wanted to avoid the safety car, and now they have a 3-place grid penalty for the next race. Please do better. Like, are we serious? Next, we have my favorite team, McLaren. Driver of the day for the 4th time this season, Lando Norris. He's had 4 out of 9 driver of the days. And Oscar with an excellent P5. Unfortunately, Russell was a bit faster than him, and then Hamilton was able to overtake him as well. But they both did excellent. And Lando almost got that win again. If only he had pitted 1 lap earlier to get I think he was on hards. But he was so close. Next, we have Mercedes. Honestly, such an improvement from the last couple of races. They were doing good last race, but this race, P4 for Lewis, and he also got the fastest lap, so he gets an extra point, and P3 for George. I'm very impressed. Lewis went from 7th to 4th, so he deserves a little round of applause for that. Lewis honestly probably should have been on the podium. And George made a few mistakes. It's not the worst, but it wasn't the best. He did have to go to the stewards after with Piastri for when they bumped tires, but they said no further action. But Lewis is going to get a podium this season. I just know it. I hope in my heart he does at least. Now we have Aston Martin. Both got points, P6 for Fernando, P7 for Lance. And it's Lance's home race, so even better place to get points. VCARB. Oh, I think I wrote these backwards. I'm dyslexic. I wrote Yuki got P8 when it was Daniel that got P8 and Yuki got P14, so just ignore that. And poor Yuki, he spun on lap 66. And then Daniel also got a jump start penalty for 5 seconds, which he did serve, so he doesn't have to get any grid place penalties at the next Grand Prix. But there was something that happened even before the race started. Yuki was late for the podium, so he did get a €10,000 fine for the team. Alpine, there isn't much to say other than Ocon was pissed. So Ocon would have gotten P9 if it wasn't for team orders to let Gasly through. It just feels like Alpine's just like punishing him at this point for Monaco. Like, we've already announced he's not going to be here next year. Do we still have to do this man dirty? Like, he was being a good team player. Plus, Gasly literally got hit in the beginning by Perez. No further action. On to the next team, Haas. Let me bring out my little sticky note. Haas was on some deep copium this race. The only team that decided to start on wets and nearly made it to the top 4. At one point, Magnussen was P5. And I think Hulkenberg got up to 7. But here's the thing. When you're on wets and the track's drying up as quick as it did, those full wets aren't going to work, so you need to go to inters. And so, Magnussen goes to inters, and he gets an 8.6 second pit stop. Yep. Hopefully, they do better next time, but they were really just outside of the points. On to our next team, Kick Sauber. I don't know what we're doing. 0 points still. The only reason why they finished here at P13 for Valtteri and Zhou getting P15 is because 5 of their cars DNF'd. I really hope they do better by the end of the season because it ain't looking too good for them. On to the Ferraris. Leclerc, understandable DNF. He had an engine issue. Literally nothing he could have done. But they both started outside of the top 10 for the first time since Spa 2021. So I wasn't expecting them to get like high up there. I was expecting them to at least finish the race with points. And then Sainz decides to crash straight into the back of Albon's car and ruins both their races. And with all the rumors of him possibly going to Williams next year, nice job taking out your future teammate, Carlos. Hopefully you do much better in Spain, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks he decides to announce what team he's going with. Because let's see. There's a seat at Mercedes, but it's probably going to Kimi Antonelli. There's a seat at Haas, but it's probably going to be Ollie and possibly Kevin Magnussen. And then there's a seat open at Kick Sauber, which is going to be Audi in 2026, but that's like 2 years away, and they're literally at the back of the grid. And then there's Williams, because Logan's probably, unfortunately, not going to have a contract next year. But let's move on to Williams, the other team that got a DNF. Poor Logan. He hit the wall once, was able to restart, and then he hit the barrier again, causing a safety car. Logan, what are we going to do with you, my fellow American? Unfortunately, this year is not looking good for Logan. He's probably getting dropped. Unfortunately. I would love to see him stay as the only American on the grid, but I don't think he will be. And then Alex. Alex was literally, I want to say he was within points. He probably could have got points if Sainz didn't take him out. And Alex literally had the best overtake of the year. He literally overtook 2 cars, and it was wet out. And I think it was Ricardo and one of the Alpines. It looked amazing. I'd put a clip up, but I don't want to get copyright. So, go search it up. It was an amazing overtake. Overtake of the year, if you ask me. But that was a wonderful Grand Prix. Let's bring the rain back. I honestly give that Grand Prix 8 out of 10. Probably one of the best. maybe the second best, because my best is Miami, because my favorite driver won. So, but I can't wait for Spain next week. And I'm very excited, or not next week, it's the week after. My brain's all over the place. But I can't wait for the next Grand Prix, and I hope to see you all there. Leave a little comment on who you think deserved driver of the day, what team did you think did the best, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.